Oh boy, I did not expect this on a Wednesday. What is going on, guys? Uncle Valk here, and we just got another whole round of dev notes for the next wave of buffs, meaning in the patch coming in 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have some really exciting changes coming into the game. Not something I expected, considering after we axed the Awakened Potential system, Smaugate put up like 3 pages worth of job listings. So big round of applause for whoever the heck is left there. That being said, let's just jump right into it so we can all go to bed early. This is 2 a.m. where I'm at. First up, Little Queen Charlotte. Very simple. Her S3 ultimate now inflicts extinction whenever she lands a kill. Her self-imprint's also been changed to crit chance. First thing this does is it makes her a definitive threat versus revive comps. So your opponent can no longer pull out a Ruel just to hard counter her. Second thing it does is now she's easier to build without a crit set. Meaning if you go Destro plus pen set, one of those builds will be much better. This makes the Destro plus pen set build super deadly if you can properly support her, and your opponents will have no meaningful ways to recover the losses and the damage she can deal once she gets one really good turn. Still very weak to turn resets, buff strips, and debuffs, but that's just always going to be the case when playing with her unless they want to change her character identity. After LQC, I think this is a really exciting buff. Top Model Luluca gets a buff. First thing, she gives barrier to self. Essentially, she no longer ever needs to run Dignus Orb. So if you are a hardcore cleaver, put her on book, guilt-free. If you're an aggro player, you want more options on her, I think she can go Black Hand of the Goddess and just give herself a lot of damage. And she got the Faithless Litica treatment, meaning she got the combat readiness push swapped to S3, and her attack buff, the other effect, got swapped to S2. Since the combat readiness push is always the most important aspect, moving it to skill 3 means you are no longer trapped when a Politis or a Green Celine is picked versus her. Base speed also got bumped up, but more on that one later. This doesn't really push her into a premium ML5 territory, but it definitely pushes her up a whole tier. If you've seen the tier list video I put out a couple days ago, she's at least playable, but it's just a question of up until what rank, since she will always be weak to units like Ran, Zio, and she's as much as she's getting free speed, she's not that fast. After Top Model Luluca, we got Requiem Roana on the list. So the condition on her passive is removed, meaning it'll no longer be once per turn. So this makes her playable when your opponent picks Politis or Abyssal Euphine, just not both. This way, an opener who can extra turn can fully push her up to the top. Second thing is the scaling damage aspect of her S3 is removed. Damage is increased as a compensation because she's usually played with cleave, so scaling her damage in a high tempo, low sustain composition just doesn't really make sense. And also on top of that, she can now strip 1 buff. So traditionally, Requiem Roana had this problem where if you pick her in a good draft, she doesn't do enough. You would much prefer something nowadays like Eternal Wanderer Ludwig, because he just does more. If you want damage, if you want the debuffs, the resets, you rather have just a straight up Lua be able to do a lot more. Now she's a threat because she has damage, she has strip, and she has her delay, which makes her a very natural ally to be paired with a Summertime Iceria draft. I feel like this extra 1 buff strip is something they've been wanting to give her, but they were really afraid of the ramifications due to Lua being in the game and being really OP. But now that Leia exists and she can counter that cooldown reset effect, they just said, hey, forget it, let's pull the trigger, make her a lot better, which I'm very excited for. After Requiem Roana, Clarissa. So Clarissa is a 4-star Vildred. She's like a 4-star version of Green Vildred, and the only place that I really know her for is in Wyvern one-shots, where she's just better than other AoE clears. I don't ever think you replace her over Vildred in any cleaves or PvP, so I'm not sure if this buff does anything for her. All good. PvE buff. After that, Falconer Clury. Really simple buff. Instead of increasing damage based on defense, Now what it does is it inflicts a 40% resource reduction when she S1s an enemy. This means every time she S1s, she takes 40 fighting spirit or 2 focus from the character she's hitting. You guys remember how much she S1s, by the way? This gives her a really good matchup versus focus units like Truck Luluca, ML Shu, Sage Vivian, just to name a few. I think she's going to be, she's going to be so annoying here. And I think as far as units like Landy, Euphine, the Fighting Spirit units, I mean, even like ML Bologna, is not going to be too good because, especially Landy, Euphine, if you hit them, you still risk a counter even though you're taking away their Fighting Spirit. Landy counter salvo still hits really hard. Euphine, the big AoE counter, is still going to give her back 20 fighting spirit, so it's still going to be a risk. I don't think this makes her super good versus these fighting spirit units, but great versus focus units, and I think it's a good direction in taking power out of these fighting spirit units that's been popping up over the past year. After that, Victorious Flag. It's now just a straight up flat 16% damage increase, 16% damage taken decrease, but only works on RGB units. That's the stipulation. Which is kind of a shame because it's RGB exclusive. It'd be pretty OP on a good handful of Moonlight units if you want to put your noggin together, since ML units are usually our PvP specialists. Now though, the only RGB unit I can really think of off the top of my head that goes really hard, right? Because if you think about bruisers, and out of all the high value bruisers, it's Aria. Extra damage dealt, less damage taken. You can't ask for any more than that. Over Scroll of Shadows, you do lose the extra debuffs, and I'm not experiencing the matchup to say if that's super important to her. I would guess not, and you would care more for Victorious Flag when playing Aria. Up next is a buff to the Rage unique buff, and the value just got doubled, so attack and speed increased by 20%, and 20% speed with the attack is kind of crazy. However, I don't think there's any units that currently give Rage that's OP besides Januda, the king himself. No, I'm just kidding. I think it helps out what units like Mort, Teiyu, Ambitious Tywin. Out of that list, Ambitious Tywin's probably the best unit here, but he only uses the speed. He doesn't care about the attack, so it's going to help him, but I don't think it's super crazy. But, I mean, I think it's been a pretty productive patch already. I'm not going to ask for more. I kind of like what I see. There's a lot of very productive changes to units we really want to see. You know, outside of ML Ludwig, but we've been asking for that buff for like 3 years. It is what it is. Let's talk about the Mage Constellation rework. And to call it a rework's a bit of an exaggeration. They bumped up the base stats to a lot of units. So for Leo Mages, which includes ML Ludwig, Melissa, and Roy Mustang, 8 crit for free. Pretty sure this is just them wanting to buff the rest of these units, like Melissa, Roy. ML Ludwig being a super OP meta unit just caught a freebie. It is what it is. We take those. When I say we, I mean not me, because I don't have them. Smiles. Virgo Mages are next. Architect Laika and Fire Koerig. Both of these units do a lot with their base speed, and giving them 2 for free is a nice bonus, but not enough to make them OP. This does, however, make Architect Laika and Fire Koerig the same base speed as Conqueror Lilius, if I'm remembering my base speed right. So they are a bit more of a threat on super fast builds, especially Fire Koerig. I do like that one a little bit. Alright, next up, you know, we hinted at this one earlier. Top Model Luluca went from 115 to 119 alongside Green Vivian. Now, there was a season where Top Model Luluca got 7 base speed for free. Or not base speed, rather. 7 final speed for free. Yeah, and getting 4 speed for free doesn't really put her on that level as she was before, but it does put her on the same level as, what's 119? I think 119 is right after Lua, which is pretty impressive. So, especially with this buff that she's also getting, it doesn't make her OP by any stretch of the imagination, but she's just going to be slightly better, which means, you know, she's going to see a bit more play, maybe not enough to change her fate on the tier list I put out, but it's going to be enough to bump her up just ever so slightly. Lastly, we do see a whole lot of base stat changes to Pisces Mage. They used to get a lot of free crit chance, now it's just more speed. And the one really benefiting is Auxiliary Lots, now getting 5 base speed for free, which puts them at 117. It's not the craziest, since 117 is still considered like medium fast. And if you guys are new to PvP, base speed is an extremely important metric in measuring how fast a unit can potentially be, because speed sets and whatnot all scale off of this base speed percentage. So a unit like Ram being at 129 will just be infinitely easier to push speed with compared to somebody like, for example, Lua, and now top model Luluca being around the same bracket at 119 and 120. So yes, it is nice a lot of these units are moving up 2 speed, 4 speed, 5 speed, but so far none of these units are fast enough to break out of their class, so to speak. Well, that's really the patch for now. Honestly, when I found out Smilegate had like 3 pages of job openings, I thought we were getting no content for a while. But as it turned out, you know, we got a new season of AI, love it or hate it. Content is content, right? It's new ways to engage with your guild. We got a patch, and on top of that, you know, despite this current patch that on the day of this patch note release not being super stellar, I think we got quite a bit to look forward to. There's always gonna be an exciting year, considering what we got and how the team looks. I mean, Januaries and Februaries always not crazy exciting in the E7 community, but it's gonna be it from me for this video. Kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts, so let me know in the comments which buffs you're excited for. Are you also like me, disappointed they didn't buff Blood Moon Haste? And just general thoughts like that. And that being said, it's me from this video. If you have any questions, find me on my stream, Discord. If you want to see like the tier list, because now we also have the custom Mystic banner. I mean, tier list for that. Guys for RTA this season. You guys know where to find them. Hope you have a great one. Stay safe out there. And I'm going to bed. See ya.